How far can you push a trick-taking game until it stops being a trick-taking game? That question came to mind when I was playing The Yellow House, a design for 2 players by Gionil and Mandu Games. This designer-publisher pair has worked together a couple of times. First on Jekyll vs. Hyde, a 2-player only trick-taking game. There was a sequel, Jekyll and Hyde vs. Scotland Yard, also 2-player trick-taking game. Gionil has also designed Ptolemy, Hipparchus, and The Phantom of the Opera, all 2-player trick-taking games. So apparently that's a genre they like a lot, they want to explore, have lots of different things going on. So The Yellow House has that. It is trick-taking, but it is more a shedding game in that you are trying to get rid of all your cards. If you do that first, you win the round. If you win 2 or 3 rounds, depending on which rounds you win the game. Let me show you how it works. Here are the components of the Yellow House: a 28 card deck, 5 support cards, a strength tracker showing the relative strength of the 4 suits in the game, and 2 superfluous palettes under which you can place the cards that you win. The conceit of the game is that many years ago, Van Gogh founded a community of artists in a yellow house, and one of the artists who attended was Gauguin. And apparently they had many arguments over what is most important for the creation of art: money, skill, inspiration, passion. Some combination of those, assuredly, but they argued continuously, and now in this game you are, in effect, recreating those arguments. To play, you're going to shuffle the deck, deal each player 12 cards. There are initially 4 cards put aside because it's a 28 card deck. You look at all the cards in your hand. You then decide which 2 cards you want to give to your opponent. When you do that, you reveal those cards, and whichever cards are revealed get bumped on the track. So 2 inspiration goes up 2 spaces. Passion, skill, they each go up 1. Money does not change. Now, you have your cards in hand, you have the relative strength. The first player is going to play something, all right? Any card of their choice. Let's say they lead money. The other player either passes or responds by playing a stronger card. And in this case, it's fairly straightforward. They could play purple. They cannot play yellow. Once a color is in a trick, it cannot be repeated. So they play purple, which is stronger than yellow. The other player can respond by playing green or red. But red is not stronger than purple right now. If they play green, fine, they're ahead, that's it. If they want to play red, though, they have to boost the strength of red. They can take a red, put it down in front of them, which will boost red by 1, and then they must be able to play red. Okay. So you're arguing, you're putting red out there, and in addition, you're getting a card out of your hand because, as I mentioned, you were trying to get rid of all your cards to win the round. The other player, looking at what they have here, they can pass, or they could play a green and then boost green. And now all 4 colors have been played, the trick is resolved, and now this player will lead for the next round. You can throw these cards aside. They do not matter once they've been put down. Now, they can lead whatever they want. So let's say they lead purple. The other player is going to respond. They can respond with anything. They've got a lot of yellow, and yellow is relatively weak, so they might want to boost it. You can't boost something unless you have to. In this case, they do. They could discard 2 yellow cards to move it up 2 spaces. But you don't have to just discard your yellow cards. You can use 1 support card when you are trying to boost the strength of a suit. So they can do this, and this is effectively 2 yellow cards, it boosts it by 2, you put down yellow. Now, you can use a support card on its own. So, looking at what the other player has, they could put down a red to boost red, or they can just take a support card and say, I'm boosting red. And because red is the color they boosted, red is now what must be played. Now, the other player can play green or pass. Now, why would you want to play and why would you want to pass? Because the goal is to get rid of all your cards. You have to decide when it makes sense to pass, when it makes sense to hold your strength. If you do this, you boost green, you play green, Okay, you win the trick. Now you're going to lead. You can't boost purple that much. Even with a support, you could only boost purple above yellow. So maybe now is the time to lead purple? Although then, if you lead purple, you can only play this if you win the trick again. And is that necessarily going to happen? And are these remaining cards going to help you empty the rest of your hand? How are you going to go out? This is a very tricky question. I played the game 3.5 times. Well, one game got interrupted. And I've yet to figure out a super good strategy. Looking at what this person has, they can boost purple a lot. They might be happy if you boosted purple. You know which cards are in the game. You don't know which 4 cards have been set aside, but you have some idea of what the opponent has. If you have seen only 2 purple cards, you might think they have up to 5 purple cards, which means you might not want to boost purple. Let them do it. And then you can take advantage of that. So you keep playing. Eventually, one person is going to run out of cards. Let's say we did this, whatever. This player plays their last card. They're out. When someone goes out, they take their winning card and slide it under their palette. You then shuffle all the cards, including the 4 that had been set aside. You deal each player 12 cards again. These all reset. Now there's only 3 cards set aside, so there is less information that is unknown. And the player who won the round will start the next round. These will now be reset as well. During a round, you can have at most 3 of these support cards in front of you. I have yet to see a game in which all 5 have been used. But that is the restriction. At most 3 in front of a player. You now play another round. If this player wins the round with a red card, they win the game. They have clearly shown passion is most important. They have expressed that thoroughly. If they win with something else, then the game continues. But if they win a 3rd time, then they win the game. So the game lasts at most 5 rounds. If each player wins 2, you're now going to have the final round. Someone will win that and win the game. Potentially, though, the game ends after only 2 rounds. This person wins red, red again, boom, you are done. That's how to play the Yellow House. As I mentioned, I played the Yellow House 3.5 times, and this is on a review copy from Mandu Games, which will be selling the Yellow House at Spiel Essen 24. And despite that experience, I don't know that I have improved in any way, that I know how to play the game better, because I've lost pretty much all the time. I think I won a round or 2 along the way, but generally have not been very good. The one round that I did win, I had 6 cards in one color. I passed 2 of them to my opponent. They actually passed me 1 back, so I knew where all 7 cards of that suit were. I had 5, my opponent had 2. The strength of it was already boosted by 3 due to the passing. And I ran the hand there because I could wait till they were out of that suit and then I could just run it. So that one particular round worked really well. But aside from that, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing wrong, other than not being dealt 6 cards of a suit. I don't know. Maybe you just want long suits and wait for the right time and then boost that strength. And then now with the super powerful suit, run the hand after that. So I just have to try to duplicate that, but without knowing where every card is. You're playing with imperfect information, except in the final round. When if you're playing in round 5, all of the cards have been dealt out. You know exactly what the opponent has. You know what they're passing them. And it's all a matter then of playing smartly in order to assess your hand right, to leave yourself with just what you need to go out. At least that's what it feels like. But again, I haven't done this yet. This is what's interesting about the Yellow House, in that it's trick-taking, but really it feels more like a stock game, in that you have suits or companies, if you will. You're giving stock to the other player. You're boosting the strength of that stock, and then you're trading stocks back and forth, or comparing your portfolios by saying, I got this stock and I've got this stock that's even more valuable, or I'm spending those stocks to boost the value of it. I don't know exactly how you're spending it, promoting it, whatever, boost the value and then play higher. So it feels like a stock game more than a trick-taking game, and yet it is a trick-taking game. It's just different terminology almost. You could describe it a different way and the gameplay would be identical. You know, I'd be just as bad at it, I'm sure, because just not getting it yet. Not getting where I'm going wrong with the passing or support, or passing instead of playing, or playing instead of passing. It's all a mystery at this point. It's a really intriguing concept because, again, the suits have no numbers. So the value of everything is very relative, and you're making it all up as you play. And you're trying to, ideally, of course, dump lots of cards in support because that gets cards out of your hand, but now you don't have those to play of this thing you just boosted. So it's trying to find this balance between them to boost just enough to leave you strength to use in the future. And I haven't done it. So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll try again. One other element to the gameplay that I have not got into yet, there's a variant where you can give special powers to the suits when you use them to support that suit. So if I support red, all right, I put red down in front of me, I then play a red card. If you're playing with a variant, then the trick just ends. That's it. So red becomes this killer element. Or purple, skill. If you do skill, so you boost skill, even with just card here, you boost skill and then play skill, then you get to, at the end of the trick, boost a suit other than skill. Okay, so each color has its own special ability, which will provide a little twist. I haven't even got into that gameplay yet because I feel like I need to understand how to do the basic game. And I'm not there yet, but I can at least talk about it as a fascinating design where you're really boiling this game down to minimalist components, because you don't need the palettes, you just need the cards. And then you have some tokens to track the strength. If you would go off the strength track, like if you would have to bring something up to 9, you just slide everything down again. You could easily track this with other components. You got this little cloth roll-up board. It's very interesting components, all this. A few wood tokens, the cloth board, cards, that's it. And then a trippy game that I don't fathom how to play. But at least now you know how to play, just not how to play.